Hi, my name is Dina. This video log is going to be about INFPs and Enneagrams, but I'll start with doing a little bit of an overview of Enneagram, especially for those who don't really know too much about it. But this is probably going to be very layman's term, not very descriptive overview of it. But if you do want to learn more about it, you can go to the Neogram Institute's website. They have a lot of really good information, especially a few quizzes that you can take. And from there, to be honest, I would mostly suggest just reading through the descriptions of all the different types and trying to figure out which one you relate to the most, rather than just taking the test. But also, for me, I take the test first and then look into which ones I score the highest and try to identify which ones. So you could go either way, whichever one works for you. But it's a really good complement to understanding yourself, to understanding your personality, and then also relating it to Myers-Briggs. It kind of adds more to the variation between all the different types, because even though there are 16 types in Myers-Briggs, you can see one INFP next to another INFP, and they're going to be totally different and have totally different ideas of things, and their personalities may not be as similar as you think, even though they're kind of the same but different. So when you pair Myers-Briggs up with Enneagrams, that kind of gives a few of the answers to why there are so many different variations within a Myers-Briggs personality type. So the Enneagram basically it talks about different personality types and their interrelations between each other, and they have 9 types, and they're split into 3 different triads. That's 2. This is 3. They're split into 3 different triads, and the first one being the heart/image triad. So those are types 2, 3, and 4. And actually, I should also tell you the names of the types. So type 2 is a helper, type 3 is achiever, and type 4 is the individualist. And then the second the triad after that being the head or thinking triad, which is types 5, 6, and 7. So type 5 is the investigator, type 6 is a loyalist, and type 7 is an enthusiast. And then the last triad being the body or instinctive triad, which is types 8, 9, and 1. Type 8 is the challenger, type 9 is the peacemaker, and type 1 is the reformer. So each one of those have their own different characteristics and personality type, or different variations. So they're very different, or they can be kind of similar, but they're very distinctive when you start reading into their descriptions. And on top of there being 9 types, there's the concept of wings in Enneagram. When you have a basic type, like say you are a type 2, a wing is the 2 adjacent numbers right next to the main type that you're focusing on. So if you're a type 2, your wings would be type 1 or type 3. So you would be a 2 with a 1 wing or 2 with a 3 wing. And then the wing, a wing is kind of a supplement type. You don't take all of the characteristics of a wing, but it kind of adds on to your main type. And mainly you'll be a type 2, but you'll take on, say if you're 2W1, you'll take on some of the characteristics of the reformer. And so when you have all of those, now that you have the understanding of those, the triads or the types and the wings, you can come up with your tri-type. And there's kind of like a loose rule. I'm not sure if it's completely strict, but you typically have one type in each of the triads. So for me, I would be a type 4, type 6, and a type 9. You would have one in the head, the heart, the head, and the body the heart, the head, and the body triads. So you can, I guess some people do score high in two types within one triad, but usually you kind of have one main type in each triad, if that makes sense. So that's really what comprises of your tri-type in Enneagram. And as far as each individual type goes, there's this concept of going under stress and under growth, and that's why Enneagram kind of changes a lot based on person to person, especially if they're taking a test, because the concept of a type going into growth and stress means that it can go into a different type when you're in a state of growth or in a state of stress. So me being a type 4, let me pull it up. Me being a type 4, when I'm under stress, I can become a type 2. Like, I'll take on some of the stressful bad characteristics of a type 2, whereas if I'm in a state of growth, I will take on some of the characteristics of a type 1. So it's not always going to be accurate if you take a test, because your state of mind will change depending on what health condition you are, or like I guess like how healthy you are. Because I guess if you're, like, for me, when I'm really stressed out, or if I'm really focusing on a lot of people a lot and not taking care of myself, I come off as a type 2. Like, I kind of like displace my attention to myself onto other people. So I like focus on other people and then forget about myself, and I just like get really stressed out. That's when I realize that I'm not very healthy. And it took me a long time, because I always thought I was a type 2, but it turns out it's because when I'm under stress, I become like, I kind of am a type 2. So yeah, that's why I would recommend looking into the actual type descriptions rather than going off of a test, because you know yourself more than a test would, and whichever one you identify more clearly with will pretty much be what you are. So same with Myers-Briggs. Like, some people can, like, I mean, I could probably fit in as an ENFP, but I myself, I believe I am an INFP, because that's just from reading the cognitive functions and like just thinking long and hard and evaluating all the pros and cons between each of them and the priorities of the functions. I came to the conclusion that I am an INFP as opposed to being an ENFP. But honestly, I think when I'm under stress, I kind of appear as an ENFP. So on top of like that stress and growth idea, there's one more caveat I know in Enneagram that you might have seen. It's called the Instinctual Variance. So they have 3 of them, being there's a social variant, a self-preserving, and the sexual one. So we'll start with social. Social is they like to deal with being in groups, and then the sexual variant would be more one-on-one. And for self-preserving, they focus more on comfort and independence. So those are really generalized descriptions of them, but that is it for the most part. So you could so on top of your Enneagram types and the wings and your tri-types, you would have that instinctual variant, which makes you even more unique. And then on top of your Myers-Briggs type, that makes it almost impossible for you to be really one fits all. So yes, when you do look into all those different ideas, it helps you to learn a lot about yourself, and then it also makes you, it also just like makes you more unique. I kind of lost my train of thought. So as far as INFP and Enneagram, there is a chart that I found that from my friend. He's an INTJ. We were just talking about Enneagrams for some reason, and he just did a Google search and found this chart that has relationship between Enneagrams and Myers-Briggs types, and they're and rating them between like most common types within each Myers-Briggs types. So I'll put that link below so that you can have a good look at it and have an idea of what I'm talking about, but I'll just mostly focus on INFPs. And for INFPs in the Neogram, the common types in INFP, most common and common, are types 2, type 4, type 5, and type 9. So type 2 being the helper type, type 4 being the individualist, type 5 is the investigator, and type 9 is the reformer. So those are the most common. Less common would be type 1, type 6, and type 8. And then the least common would be a type 3 or type 7. Usually if you're what people would say is that if you're testing as a type 3 or a type 7, you're probably another Myers-Briggs type. So type 3 INFP is a little bit random. Maybe like, I guess some people would think you're more of like an ENFJ or INFJ maybe. And then type 7, if you're a type 7 INFP, most people will just instantly pinpoint maybe an ENFP, because ENFPs are definitely type 7s. So yes, I guess that is pretty much a good overview of Enneagram. And maybe I didn't really get into the INFP aspect of it as much, but I think I'm going to be making this into a mini series of INFP and Enneagram, because I might end up having a really long video on my different types. So my next video will be on INFP being a type 4, but I'm personally a type 4 with a 3 wing. So on Enneagram Institute, that's known as the aristocrat. So there's a lot of good stuff to talk about being a type 4 and an INFP, which I'm sure a lot of INFPs will relate to, because there seems to be a lot of INFP 4W5s and INFP, I've seen a lot of 4W5s on YouTube. I'm not sure if I've seen a 4W3 yet, but I'll be back with more videos on that in the next one. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!